right, so now you're watching my screen, and on the screen is one of my favorite providers of virtual assistants, Upwork. I've tried a lot of different companies to figure out what assistants work the best, and I can tell you the very best assistants in the world are all on this website, which is Upwork.com. It's free to create an account, and Upwork typically builds the virtual assistant, not you. So you're really not paying for Upwork services. You're simply paying the Upworker. So as you can see, we on an ongoing basis have jobs that we post on Upwork. Altogether, we employ 17 virtual assistants, of which 12 are active at this point in time. And we have 3 active postings. And so this is a typical posting that we use, virtual assistant and customer service representative. As you can see, there have been 29 proposals, of which we messaged 8 people, and I'm pretty sure we've hired one of these 29 people already, but we still have more people that we're looking to hire. So if I click on this, it'll give you some idea of how we post our listings. So job details, in our case, it's more than 30 hours a week. Most of you would not start that way. You'd probably start with a small number of hours. Maybe it's 4 hours a week, 8 hours a week. Those are all fine. You can find Upworkers even willing to work at 2 hours a week. So it's important to give them an idea of what it is that you're having them do. It's very important to do that. And then tell them what are the working hours and Pacific Standard Time, Eastern Standard Time, things like that, and then give them an hourly rate. Our standard hourly rate is this rate here, $5.27 an hour. And we tend not to respond to people that apply that don't have these qualities for most of our positions. We want them to be independent freelancer in the Philippines. We do not want them to work for another company, because the high quality freelancers have all worked for other companies. They've worked for call centers for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and now they're at that point in their career where they work for themselves. We want them to have a very high rating. I'll show you this again. And we want them to have a lot of different jobs, because when they have a lot of different jobs, they know a lot of different software, a lot of different websites. They tend to be very experienced. We want very fluent English, and we want strong grammar and writing. And to us, the best kind of folks are the people that have a mixed experience. So they have a CSR or customer service rep experience, but they've also been a virtual assistant. And so here's a skill set that we plug in to get the right kind of resumes from people, right? So we go through the process of viewing a job post, and then the other thing that we do is we go out and we invite freelancers. So we go out to the system and we start inviting freelancers. And here is how we find the very best freelancers. So watch this very carefully, and if you have a way to screenshot the screen, you might want to do it. So when we're searching for freelancers, we click on this filter button, and we look at all of these filters and we activate all of them. So the first thing that we do is, for the vast majority of things that we do, we like going with the Philippines, because they have an enormous virtual assistant workforce, decent internet, not quite great, but decent internet, and the English levels are less accented and easier to understand than, let's say, India. So we usually type in Philippines in the country box, and then we go in and we say fluent. You do not want to pick one of these 3 buttons. You're not going to have good results. Then we say, I want somebody who's very experienced. I want people that have $10,000 minimum earned on Upwork. What does that mean? Well, it means that they've probably been on Upwork for more than a year. Some of these people have been on Upwork for 3, 5, 7 years. Then job success. Well, 80 is too low. 90 is also too low. So I'm going to show you how to filter that further. So I click on 90 and up, right? Do not check this box. And then hourly rate, go with $10 and below. And in terms of hours billed, go with 1,000 plus hours, right? And this 1,000 plus in the last 6 months means somebody who's been working full time. So I tend not to check this box. I want somebody who's been very active recently, somebody who's working on Upwork constantly. So I say within 2 weeks. And then I select only independent freelancers. Now, this is one where you might actually select agency. So when you select agency, you have both good and bad. They'll give you a freelancer to work with you, but then if that freelancer doesn't show up for work, you'll get a replacement. The challenge, of course, is that independent freelancers, if you know what you're doing, you'll get a higher quality of freelancer because they work for themselves and they're more experienced. Where with the agency, your quality will vary depending upon who's available on that particular day. Also with agency, you'll pay more for talent. So, if good talent is $5 an hour independent, good talent is then $7 an hour with agency. But again, if you're not somebody that is willing to jump on and start talking, with Upwork people and doing interviews by Skype, and you don't want to repeat that process, then I highly recommend going with agency freelancers. My company only works with independent freelancers that work out of their own homes. Now, in terms of categories, we tend to pick, most of the time, we'll pick the personal virtual assistant category, though often we also go back in and pick the customer service rep category that's in here somewhere. Let's see, where is it? Admin support, we'll pick this one. And then sometimes you might have data entry needs, and this category is great. Customer service is a great entry, but VAs are kind of the very best option. So if you want somebody that needs to be on the phone a lot, calling for some real estate need, making hundreds or thousands of phone calls, then these reps will probably do better than the personal and virtual assistant reps. So I select that, and at this point, these filters are pretty much applied. So again, you might want to take a screenshot of this. And I don't know why it selected Southeastern Asia. I'm going to go with Philippines. There we go. Now it's selected Philippines. And so at this point in time, the people that are showing up are going to be pretty high in quality. And all of them, you notice, have higher rates than what I mentioned we pay. We pay $5.27 an hour. That's because you will probably end up paying higher rates if you're hiring somebody for an hour a day, 2 hours a day. Then people are looking to work at this level. But if you're looking to hire somebody on a full-time basis, then a standard rate is $5.25, $5.50 an hour. Our company has a great track record, so we can pay $5.25 an hour. For your first, second full-time VAs, you probably will end up paying more like $5.50 or $6. But you shouldn't have to pay more than $6 an hour for full-time employment. For part-time employment, $7.50 an hour tends to be more standard. All of these guys are saying $8.75 will in fact work for less. So keep that in mind, that that's just what they think they should put on here. But even if I click on Anne Christine's resume, you'll notice on the next page that she is doing fixed jobs, and when she's not, there's going to be some, well, actually, this one, not bad example. Let me go back again and look at Leah. And you notice $5.50 an hour, $5.56 an hour, $5 an hour. So you start seeing a trend there once you've looked at a bunch of these resumes of what sort of money you're going to have to pay. And you notice the quality of these people. Now, notice we accept 96% as the minimum to interview people. Now, you can't filter up here for anything beyond 90, so you'll have to manually skip all of those people that are under 96%. And we find that to be a good quality benchmark that I strongly suggest you go with, right? So when you click on this, the first thing you want to do is, check to see how long they've been here. This person has been here for 9,719 hours and has a 98% job success. That's huge, because she's had 133 different jobs, which means 133 different people had a chance to give her a negative review. And I think out of those 133, 2 people, maybe 3 at the most, gave her a negative review. So that's a phenomenal person. You're not going to find this quality easily. This is a person that's learned a lot. Also, if they've earned $50,000 a year, at 10 grand a year, you're looking at somebody that's worked on Upwork for at least 5 years, right? So that's fantastic. And Christine, probably a great VA. So let's go in here. I also like this. You often don't see this, but if I scroll down to the bottom, you're going to see you want as many 4s as possible in this list. 3s are okay, but you want to see a lot of 4s. So I'm very, very happy with Anne Christine's levels. I would tell you that these are not levels that you will find commonly, even with my filters. So Anne definitely has terrific levels when it comes to all of the tests that she has passed. And then I look at reviews, right? So I definitely do not want anybody to be under 4.5. So I'm going to be looking to see if Anne gets reviews under 4.5. 4.8 is good, 4.45 not so good. But as I scroll down, I can go back and look here to see what sort of work she did, right? Excellent attention to detail, efficiency, great to work with. Those are the sort of people I'm looking for. Here's what I don't want to see. And you won't see this because I've already filtered for the very best in the US. But still, what you don't want to see is somebody who didn't finish on time, somebody who didn't show up on time. Those are common problems in the Philippines where people will just not show up on time. They're just not there 100% of the time. So if you see a couple of those kinds of reviews, skip that person. You have hundreds and hundreds of options on this website. All right, so you look at these sorts of options, and then you basically, if you like the person, you invite them to the job that you've created, and make sure that when you invite them, write something a little bit personal. Tell them a little bit about you. Tell them a little bit about the company. Make sure that if you have more than one job, you're picking the right job in this drop down. So once you send this invite, usually I include my Skype number. I say, my name, is Neil Bawa, and my Skype ID is blah, 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 right? So I put that in here, which allows them to reach directly out to me over Skype. So here, if I go into Skype, you'll notice, well, if I go into Skype, you'll see a bunch of these VAs connected with me. So you click on send invitation, and then don't forget to save them. Saving is very important because this particular VA may not be available for the exact kind of job that you have right now, but you're trying to build a database of people that are in your account so that in the future, you don't have to go and do this process. You're just going into your save list, which, in my save list, there's 100 people in there. So I go after those people first every time I post a job rather than manually going out and inviting people. Now, because you posted a job, you will get a lot of resumes, right? So that's going to happen anyway. But unfortunately, the vast majority of the resumes that you're going to get are not people that you're going to want to hire. So it makes sense to go out and find the very best people yourself and spend half an hour to an hour doing that. Okay, so let's go back. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to point out on this page. Portfolio, you want to look at what sort of things they've done, how much variation there is in the portfolio. This person has a very vast portfolio, so they've done a lot of different things. I like seeing stuff like this. So call center, which means that they've done customer service. They won't be hesitant talking on the phone. This is again call center. I like chat support because that means that they're going to be very good and fast at typing, and they will multitask a great deal. I like seeing individual software listed. She hasn't listed a lot of them. Some people I see 5-6 rows of software listed. Lead gen. So this person is not afraid of making cold calls. So you want to see that if you're looking for lead gen. You want somebody that's done a lot of internet research. So these are great skills to have. And the reason for that is we've already filtered for the very best talent on Upwork. So let's see if you can find another person. So here's another one, $3.99 an hour. And you see that she's had 96% success over 2,200 hours. Now, my feedback to you is this. Somebody who lists a rate lower than $5 an hour, I think lacks confidence. And what I've seen is when I've interviewed the people that are at that lower rate, they are definitely lower in quality on average than the people that are listing higher rates. So just FYI, I think this is, you get what you pay for sort of a scenario here. So don't try to go in for people that are posting $3.50 an hour, $3.75 an hour. They may be pretty good at what they do, but the intelligence level may be an issue because there's a wide variation of intelligence level for these people. So now you notice that a good percentage of these are women, and here Gabriel's a guy. Now I can tell you my strong suggestion is that you do not hire men. So this is an area where women work better, especially because whether it's Filipino or Indian, the women tend to have a clearer voice on the phone. The women tend to be more soft spoken. So especially if you're making cold calls, it's better to go with a woman. Here's another reason, and this is stereotyping for sure. But what I found is in the past, my experience has been is if you work with women, they're grateful for the job and they tend not to use technology to cheat you in terms of time. My experience has been that the men are more likely to be the kind that basically say, okay, I'm going to give you one laptop, I'm going to have a second laptop on the side, and I'm going to create a second Upwork profile. Now I'm double dipping. That will happen from time to time, but it's more likely to happen with guys. With women, they'll come in, they'll work hard, and they'll leave. They just want to make money for their family. So go with Filipino women. If you're looking for people not to be on the phone, India is also a good option. You'll find a lot of Indians do really well. I have a number of Indians that I employ, and they tend to do a lot of my web marketing and a lot of my apartment marketing. But I tend to work with Filipinos better for VAs because of their vast and diverse array of skills, and their written English tends to be slightly better than the Indians. All right, so now let's look at, how do you make sure that these people are actually working and then they're not goofing off, right? So I'm going to pick one of my freelancers. So you can go in and you can actually see how much time they put in any given week, right? You can dispute that amount to Upwork, and Upwork is very buyer friendly. So they will, if you dispute, you'll probably get your money back. And you can set a limit. So in this case, with Day, I've set a limit of 45 hours. And she's in the last 24 hours, she's put in 14 hours of work, which I'm allowing her to do. She's put in about, she's earned about $3,500 since she started with us. Her rate is a bit lower than some of the other people, but that has to be boosted up. And the other thing that I can do is I can click on Work Diary, and then I can see exactly what she's done. So you can't even see this with your US employees, but here I can see what exactly she's been working on. Here she's working on a price quote for a signage company. And so those sorts of things. So you can see she's working right there on a dumbbell set for an apartment complex gym. So she's working on a wide variety of things for me. And once I flick through the pictures, it's very clear that she is doing her job and doing it well. So you can see here she is on Groupon buying those dumbbells. So this really records what these people are up to, and that's a very powerful thing. Let me think, what else? So we talked about where to hire them, who to hire, who not to hire, how much to pay them, and how to make sure that they're working for you. So this is really a very, very powerful thing. Virtual assistants should be a very powerful piece of what it is that you're doing. And make sure that you're working with them very closely by giving them lots of trackers. So we use a lot of Google trackers. We use so many, we use 117 trackers. And so we even have a tracker of trackers. And so what we do is we set up a reporting template for these people, and each day they have to plug in what they're doing in detail into those templates. And then at the end of the day, and this is a very good best practice, I strongly suggest you do it, use a management software, maybe something like Asana or Basecamp, and then every one of your VAs, you notice this is a very, very long thread, there's 270 more comments. Well, make them tell you what they did and rank themselves in terms of how busy they work on a scale of 10. Now, what I can tell you is this, that 8, when they rank themselves 8, they're pretty busy. When they rank themselves 7, you can probably push them further. They will rarely rank themselves 6. When they say 6, they're not working half the time. So 9 tends not to happen because they're afraid of doing that. But if you consistently see an 8 every single day, then they're pretty loaded. Don't give them more work. So this is going to give you a really nice idea of what it is that these people did on a particular day. So I hope this has been useful for you. During the bootcamp, during the question time frame, you can ask me more questions and I'll be happy to answer them for you. I don't know what we would do without our army of VAs. We achieve so much in terms of finding properties, finding brokers, finding property managers through our army of virtual assistants, and we love working with them. Hope you found this useful. Neil out.